Hey, boys and girls, welcome back. Just wanted to do another quick session with you all about decimal place value. And this was the second half of the decimal lesson we should have gotten to today, but because of our problems, we didn't. So I just want to go through this one today. And if you have questions, feel free to email me or chat tomorrow when we get back into our session, our live session. Hopefully, it'll go a little smoother and you can ask me some questions then. But before we get started, the other day I asked you guys to cut out all your card pieces and that we would use today. And so this is something we mentioned yesterday in the chat. And so I just want to remind you, if you haven't cut these out, it's going to be helpful to have these. We're going to try to squeeze in some modeling today of decimal place values with these base 10 blocks. And so as you can see on the sheet, anytime we have a base 10 block that's completely filled in, that value is a whole. So our big block is going to represent a whole. Anytime we have a value in the base 10 block where it's one column completely filled in, that one column represents 1/10. And we say 1/10 because it would take 10 of these columns to make up one of the complete wholes. And so we can see that if we were to stack these, that's what it would take to complete it. So that's our 10th model. The last model we have is if we have this one right here where we fill in one block out of the whole hundreds block. There's 100 blocks, and that's one. So that's 1/100th. Again, remember the place value when we're pronouncing values less than a whole number. We end with that TH sound. So we've got 1/100th here. And it would take 100 of these little blocks, if we added them all up, to equal the one whole. So today we're going to use these pieces to kind of visualize our model. And so we have some models down this side here. And again, no need to draw it because I'm going to have this uploaded for you. In our model, we've got one here, and we have these four columns filled in. These four columns represent four of these rows of blocks. So the way we're going to pronounce this is based on how many of these we have. So we have not just one, but 2, 3, 4. We have 4/10ths. So where it says word phrase, we would pronounce this as 4/10ths. Now, when we were to write this out as a decimal, keep in mind our place value. This means that we need a 4 in the tenths place. So that tenths place, if we go back to our decimal chart from earlier, that reminds me that I need a 4 in the tenths place value. But when we write decimals, we never leave the whole number blank. So we have to put our 0 followed by our 4 in the tenths place. Excuse me. Hopefully that makes sense with us there. The next model we're going to look at looks a little bit different. We can see that we have less than a whole row here. And so this, we're going to have to be very careful to count. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the little blocks. So the question I'm going to ask is, do we have a 10th yet? And the answer to that should be no, we don't even have a 10th yet. We have 8/100ths because each one of these little blocks is 100th, and we have 8 of them. So when we write the word out, it's going to be 8/100ths. But when we write this place value, keep in mind that the 8 has to be in the hundredths place value. So when we go back, reference back to our chart, it's going to look like that with the 8 in the hundredths place value. I think the last one we can squeeze in is this example down at the bottom. I'm going to leave this blank and leave it open for you guys. In the screenshot when I upload this, I'm going to have the answer for you, but I want you to take a moment, see if you can count and write out the